I'm here in 10.02 keyframe type buttons, and we're taking a look in the animation toolbox right here at the keyframe type buttons up top here. Now, these icons should look a little familiar as they are the exact same icons After Effects uses for their keyframe type interpolations. In fact, for the most part, these buttons act as a simple point-and-click shortcut for setting any selected keyframes to this specific type. But better yet, they also give you a little more control over these keyframes by working with customizable presets below. I'm just going to click on this drop-down menu right here, and I'll adjust the presets to a speed of 0 and to an in and out ease of 33, which means the speed will be set to 0, and both the ease in and ease out will be set to a 33% increment, which actually matches After Effects' default setting for these ease keyframes. I'll just select that. I like to make sure and change this preset to the default because often Duik will have the last settings I created on the sliders affecting these buttons, and I just want to be safe. You can be sure that it's 33 because the numbers next to the sliders here should match the 33 for ease in and out and the 0 for speed. In fact, I'm just going to checkmark this speed slider right here, so any changes I make to speed will also be affected on the keyframes. All right. I'll go over presets and sliders a little more in the next movie, but for now, we're good to play with these buttons. So I'm going to go down to my paper airplane layer right here in the timeline. I'll hit the U key to expose any keyframes I have set, and I have position and rotation keyframes set, and if I zoom in a little bit, we can see that they're all just the normal linear diamond-shaped keyframes. I'll hit the spacebar to preview, and the animation's okay, but I want it to be a little smoother. I want it to have some ease. So I'm going to start by pausing playback. I'll click and drag to select my first two keyframes. And normally I could change these to ease out keyframes by right-clicking on them, going to keyframe assistance, going to easy ease out. But with these keyframe buttons up here, I've got a quick little shortcut to do that. I can just click on ease out and boom, we've got some ease out keyframes. Now something to be aware of. Naturally, I just want to hit the spacebar and start to preview this, but if I hit the spacebar, you'll notice it's not playing. Trying it again. Take a close look at this ease out symbol right here, and you'll see every time I hit it, it gets a little darker, which means it's just enacting that button again. That's a little bit of a bug going on with Duik. It's not a big deal. You just have to click off of the Duik window and then click the spacebar to use that. All right, that looks pretty good. Now, that's going to happen a lot. It happens to me all the time while I'm doing that, where I hit that little bug. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. So let's go ahead and go to these final keyframes here and make these both easy ease in so it slows to a stop. I'll click and drag these, and I'll go to the ease in button, and I'll click on it, and that looks good. And let me go ahead and preview. Smooth, slow, ease to a stop. Now, all of my rotation keyframes, I like to make these easy ease, so when it wobbles back and forth, it sort of kind of slows and speeds up and slows and speeds up. So I'll go to the easy ease button right there, and right here in this position, where we have this position change, I want to smooth that transitional speed out, so I'm going to select that and select the Auto Bezier button. All right, let's take a gander. That looks pretty good. It's not bad at all. Now we also have the roving keyframe option up here. The roving keyframe, if you select multiple keyframes and click on it, it'll make it so we can expand and shorten this speed, and these two end ones will affect any in between it. This works really good with position, but let me hit Command Z. If I try to do it with something like rotation, it just doesn't work. So that's something to be aware of. We also have the option of using toggle hold keyframes up here. I can go ahead and let's make all of these rotation keyframes toggle hold. I'll click off, and it looks a little bit more jaggedy, a little bit more stop motion-y, and it's not so bad. So there's a lot you can do with these keyframe type buttons. One more thing to be aware of is as you play with these, if you want to undo just the last few things you did, it can sometimes not work so well, and you might have to Command Z many times to change one or two keyframes, and that has a little bit to do if we go into the settings and into the animation settings with this interactive update. It might be better if you click on the interactive update to actually do this, but it does create a lot of undo items in your history. I'm going to leave this as no and leave interactive update off, because if I want to go back to how it started originally, I can just click and select all of these, go into my animation toolbox, and then just click on the linear interpolation, and I'm back where I started. So these buttons can be really helpful if you're working on a laptop where some of the keyboard shortcuts for ease keyframes are much less accessible. Also, if you're a fan of ease presets that are different than the usual 33%, either more drastic or more subtle, you can change the presets to work exclusively with these buttons being at those presets. It's pretty great.